Hi, my name is Joyce Parker, WBO champion of the world, and you're watching Sporting Icons.
Okay, so a lot of you have been asking me to do a video on this, which is the WBO have just ranked Deontay Wilder. And we'll get to that point in a minute, but quick overview of where Deontay Wilder is across the heavyweight division. In the WBC, he's ranked number 1. Of course, behind champion Tyson Fury, behind the interim champion Alexander Povetkin. Okay, in the WBA, Deontay Wilder is ranked number 3, obviously behind Anthony Joshua, the super champion, behind, terrible to say, Manuel Charr, the regular champion. But then number 1 is Trevor Bryan, number 2 is Oleksandr Usyk, then number 3 is Deontay Wilder. So that's WBA. With the IBF, Wilder's not ranked at all. So before we get into the WBO situation, let's talk about the IBF, because I have seen quite a few, should we call them Deontay Wilder fans, who've been saying that him versus Charles Martin would be a good fight because there's an extra element of this could be for the IBF mandatory position. So just to clarify, Wilder is not ranked in the IBF. Currently, Charles Martin is of course ranked number 1. He's only ranked number 1 because Kubrat Pulev, who was ranked number 1, has just lost to Anthony Joshua. So if Charles Martin was to fight for the mandatory position, then it would have to be against number 2. But of course, that's currently Oleksandr Usyk. We know Oleksandr Usyk is going the WBO route. So then it would be passed on to Michael Hunter. So that would be the mandatory position, not Deontay Wilder. But even if somehow they managed to jig it and did it, well, that mandatory isn't going to be called for another 2 or 3 years. Okay. Now, the rankings that you guys want me to talk about is the WBO. Of course, that's where Deontay Wilder has literally just been ranked. Okay, so we go with the champion, of course, is Anthony Joshua. Number 1 is Oleksandr Usyk, who of course is the mandatory. Number 2, Joe Joyce. 3, Joseph Parker. 4, Andy Ruiz Jr. 5, Junior Farr. 6, Frank Sanchez. 7, Michael Hunter. 8, Zhilei Zhang. 9, Deontay Wilder. 10, Evander Romanov. 11, Dan Dubois. 12, Filip Perkovic. 13, Devontae McKean. 14, Ajit Kabayel. And number 15, Derek Chisora. So there you go. Number 9, it's a bit low, isn't it? I mean, let's be honest about it. And the thing is, when you look at the WBO rankings, okay, they're not great. That's for sure. I mean, they're leaps and bounds ahead of the WBO. They are complete garbage. You guys have seen that video from a few weeks ago. If you haven't, that'll pop up at the end of this video. But number 9, when you look at the rankings that WBO have, I think is a little bit low for Deontay Wilder. For example, why is he behind a prospect, currently a prospect, in Frank Sanchez, who's number 6, 17-0, Cuban, okay, but he hasn't beaten anybody. He really hasn't. Zhilei Zhang, number 8, he's 22-0, of course, but again, he hasn't beaten anybody. Can anybody tell me one opponent that Zhilei Zhang has defeated without looking on BoxRec? Not many people could. But number 9 is a little bit low. I think Wilder, while his resume is, again, complete trash, let's be honest about it, it is better. He has fought better opposition than Zhilei Zhang and Frank Sanchez. We could currently argue that he's fought better opposition than Junior Farr, which he has, but Junior Farr is about to fight Joseph Parker, okay? So again, that would be an interesting layout as to who Oleksandr Usyk could end up fighting for the interim title. Would it be Joe Joyce or Joseph Parker? What I'm led to believe is if Joseph Parker beats Junior Farr, he will leapfrog ahead of Joe Joyce. Again, don't hold me to that one. But interesting fights. I mean, if Wilder wanted to go the WBO route, that would be the one that would take the longest to get a world title fight, because that one is being called next. The only way he could possibly get it pretty soon is if he fights Usyk. But as I said, that ain't going to happen. It isn't going to happen. Usyk is either going to fight Joe Joyce or Joseph Parker. That seems to be the way forward. But an interesting fight, if he wanted to go down the WBO route, would be number 10, Evander Romanov. Many of you guys may already know, but Evander Romanov is the guy who knocked out Deontay Wilder in the amateurs. Put him down, had him on Bambi legs, all that kind of stuff. So that will be a rematch, of course, in the pros. Evander Romanov is currently 15-0, so an undefeated Russian. But very, very inactive, that's for sure. Since Romanov left the amateurs to join the pros, there was like a several-year gap. And certain things I'm hearing about Evander Romanov is that there are some issues with him. Okay, so either way, that would be an interesting one. Maybe Wilder can get revenge on Evander Romanov. I'm sure Wilder would love to take that fight. Why not? Other good ones, Filip Hrgović. We know that Filip Hrgović was bouncing Wilder around in sparring. We know that, but sparring, it happens. It really does. But Filip Hrgović, that would be an interesting fight, wouldn't it? But of course, when you look up at the top end, the best possible opponent would be Andy Ruiz Jr. Is that fight going to happen? Maybe. I mean, I can see it happening this year. We know that, by the looks of it, Wilder will be fighting Charles Martin. Hey, that is what it is. I'm not going to hate on that fight. And Andy Ruiz Jr. is going to be having an all-Mexican clash against Chris Arreola, a former victim of Deontay Wilder. So you would fully expect Wilder to beat Charles Martin, and of course you would fully expect Andy Ruiz Jr. to defeat Chris Arreola. No guarantees, heavyweight division, okay, one punch, all that kind of stuff. So no guarantees, but you would certainly favour them. Then these two should fight next, in my honest opinion. Reduce. But number 9, I mean, for me, I ain't the biggest fan of Wilder, okay? I don't mind him as a person. I don't like his lies, his deceit. I don't like his fan base. And I don't like the fact that he makes up excuses as to why certain fights don't happen with Anthony Joshua, with Alexander Povetkin, with the Klitschko's, with Luis Ortiz for the longest time, and of course, why he's lost to Tyson Fury. I don't like any of that, but if we're being brutally honest, I think that number 9 is a little bit low. To be honest with you, I think if you look at the overall heavyweight rankings, there should be other ones in there, for sure. But if this is the list that they've got, I think Wilder should be above Zhilei Zhang, should be above Frank Sanchez, and should be above Junior Farr. In all honesty, arguably, he should be above Joe Joyce, really, shouldn't he? Although Joe Joyce, he has defeated, for his very short professional career, only 12-0, he does have some pretty good names on his resume. Darren Dubois. But again, how good is Darren Dubois? Time will tell on that one, and hopefully he bounces back. He's defeated a Bryant Jennings, dubiously, that's for sure. But for only 12 fights in, Joe Joyce has done fantastic. But I think that, should he be above Wilder, former champion? No, I don't think so. Honestly, I don't think so. Andy Ruiz Jr., yes, I think Andy Ruiz Jr. should be ranked above Wilder, because he does have a better win than what Wilder does. For sure, he does. But quite a few other ones. I mean, Michael Hunter. Now, that would be an interesting fight. I think Deontay Wilder versus Michael Hunter. It's an all-American fight, of course. Michael Hunter is not signed to any promotional deal. We know that there are apparently advanced talks between Michael Hunter and Filip Hrgović. So that would be an interesting one. I know that Martin Bakole could be there or thereabouts to fight either one of those as well. We'll have to wait and see how the land lies with any of that. But you know what, Derek Chisora fight would be all right, wouldn't it? Chisora versus Deontay Wilder. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? But either way, it is what it is. I don't think that Wilder would be going down the WBO route. I think if he did, he's just wasting his time, to be honest with you, because the WBO is going to be the final sanctions body now that's going to be called. Because obviously, it's already been called now. So you're looking 2-3 years down the line after Oleksandr Usyk gets his shot at the title. So for me, that would be a mistake. But either way, number 9 in the WBO for Deontay Wilder. Your drop your thoughts below about it. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you all in the next video.